Hi everyone, I'm back and today I'm taking a new request. I'll be projecting the exterior elevation of this plan that I've been working on since I started this channel. So today I'm working on the furniture layout plan file, and this is where I had previously projected the section. So basically what I did here was use this construction line to slice through the apartment, and I drew here what I would see if I were standing where my cursor is and looking at the three windows of this sliced apartment. Therefore, it made sense for me to be working on this orientation, which is the world coordinate system. However, for today's video, my position would be outside the apartment looking at the three windows. So before I start drawing, I'll just adjust the orientation, and please refer to my user coordinate system video to see how I created these custom orientations. But for now, I'll just select UCS3, type in plan, and then select current UCS. And this way, it should be easier for me to project what I see if I'm standing here and I'm looking at the apartment from the outside. So I'll start by moving the section away from the plan a bit so I can have this space to draw my elevation in. And now I'll start defining the limits of my drawing. So I'll draw construction lines going along the side limits of my plan. And I'll draw this horizontal construction line, which would represent my floor finish level. Now I'll select this line and offset it by the value of my clear height, which is 3 meters, so 3000 mil. So this line represents my floor finish level and this line represents my ceiling level. Now I'll offset the ceiling level line by 500 towards the top, and I'll do the same for the floor finish line but towards the bottom. And what I'll do now is draw a rectangle over the space that was defined by my outer construction lines. Now I can remove this line and this line as well as those two lines. I'll keep the ceiling level line and the floor level line. Next, I'll select this rectangle and I'll offset it by 500. So this outer rectangle will act as my viewport frame, and I'll just go ahead and place it on def points right away. Next, I'll go to Express Tool to add the break line symbol so I can frame my drawing. So I'll go over this horizontal segment of my rectangle, first point, second point, midpoint, and I'll do the same on this vertical segment, and I'll select each break line and extend it to the viewport frame. And now I'll copy each one to its opposite side. And now I can remove this rectangle. And now I can finally start projecting. Now I'll start by projecting my first window, which is this master bedroom window. So I'll type in XL to draw a construction line on each side of it. And now I'll move to my drawing space and I'll offset this floor finish line by 120 centimeters because this is the height of the windowsill. So I'll offset by 1200. And the height of the window is also 120 centimeters. So I'll offset this new line by 120 as well. And I'll draw a rectangle over the space that was defined by those construction lines. Now I can remove those to make it easy on the eyes. I'll do the same thing for this window, which is the secondary bedroom window. So XL, draw it here, and one on the other side. And the windowsill here is also at 120 centimeters. And the window is also 120 centimeters high. And I'll draw the rectangle over the space that was formed here. And I'll remove the construction lines. Here I have a door window because it's leading to a balcony. I'll just select the floor finish level and offset it by 2400, which is the height of the door window, and I'll draw a rectangle over this newly defined space. Now I can remove this and those. And now I'll just go back to my home tab and I'll start drawing the windows. So if you look at the elevation, you'll see that they're not on the same level. So if I were standing here, the door window would be the closest to me, this one a bit further back, and this one all the way back. So I'll go to the layer elevation back so I can start with this window, and I'll actually select the rectangle and place it on elevation back, and I'll just draw that up. Now I'll move to the next window. This one I'll place it on elevation middle, and I'll move to elevation middle before I start drawing. This is actually identical, so I'll just copy the details of that and place them here. Then I'll select the correct layer, type in MA to match the properties. And for the door window, I'll place it on elevation front and draw it up. Now I'm just going to draw these wall lines because they would show on the elevation. So I'll use X lines to project those. And this line would be on the same layer as this window because they're on the same level. So I'll go to elevation middle and I'll draw over my construction line from the top break line to the bottom one, like that. And the same applies for this corner. The line would be on the same level as the door window. So this here is on elevation front. So I'll just go to elevation front and draw that line from the top break line to the bottom break line. Now I'll remove those two lines and move on. So even though these walls, this one right here and this one right here, define the limits of the apartment, the plan is extended to show a part of the neighbor's apartment on the right side and the left side. So to project an accurate elevation, I need to show this part of the window that's here, and the same applies to this part of the door window. So given that they are identical to the ones that I already drew, I'll just draw the construction lines here and here, and I'll copy this window here, and I know that I'd be cropping it at the break line. Now I'll select this line, type in TR, and trim the drawing. Remove those lines and do the same for the door window. TR and trim. And those won't be trimmed because they're not intersecting with the construction line, so I'll just select those lines and delete them and remove the construction lines from here as well. So it's starting to shape up a bit. So on the exteriors, there's nothing to add on these walls right here. However, I need to show that I have a balcony here. So I'll draw construction lines on the boundaries of the balcony so I know what to project. And since I have my floor finish level here, I'm going to offset it by the value of the floor slab thickness, which is 30 centimeters, so 300 mil. And I'll draw a rectangle over this space right here. So this is my balcony slab. Now I can remove those two lines and this line. And now for the balcony railing, I'm just going to offset the floor finish line by 900 mil, so 90 centimeters. And in this case, I just have a brick wall, so the outside would look like this, except you can't see through it. So I'll select this rectangle, type in CR, and trim the door window that I have here. Now I can remove this construction line, and I don't need my floor and ceiling level references anymore, so I'll remove those. The only thing that's missing is to add the railing that's here. So I'll add one more construction line here, so I can copy that over here, and I'll select this rectangle, type in CR, and trim the bits of the door window that would be hidden behind it. And I'll select my break line, type in CR again to trim the parts that are not included in this drawing. Now I'll remove this construction line. You can see that the windows are on 3 different levels, and context is included because we're showing parts of the neighboring apartments as well. I think the one thing that I would add to the elevation is just solid hatches over each section. So first I'll go to layer walls, then type in H, then the space bar, and select solid for the hatch. And I'll hatch this section, then hit escape, hit the space bar to repeat the same action because I want 3 separate hatches here, and one for the balconies. So what I'll do here is change the transparency on each hatch. So for the one that's the farthest away from me, I'm going to change the hatch transparency to 90. The one that's in the middle, I'll make that 75. And the one that's closer, 60. For the balconies, because they're even closer, I'll make that 45. So this way the drawing becomes a bit more indicative. And I'll just zoom out so you can see the elevation relative to the plan. That's it for today. Thank you for watching.